Hello and welcome everybody to another play review. This time around I've got the 87 rated second informed Koulibaly. Now as you can see I use him in that team alongside team of the knockout stages Koulibaly as a duo, and of course once again I changed in game to 4-1-2-1-2 narrow, and I played don't think I played him on the left side, I played him on the right side. I switched him and Koulibaly. I only played him there as you can see for chemistry purposes, so just keep that in mind. Now I used Anchor on him to up pace, physical, and defending, the best of three of the attributes that he already has, and man was this card a huge, massive upgrade from his man of the match, and he feels amazing. Now please hit that thumbs up and subscribe if you appreciate this content, as I try to do my best in every video. And all these clips that you'll be seeing, just because it is a defender, are just going to be him intercepting the ball or making short passes, just because it is a center back, so there's not much I can show you. Now kicking straight off his stamina, he's got 80 in-game stamina, and for a center back that's extremely high. Center backs usually don't get tired during the 90 minutes, so this was no surprise, but I got to give it to this card. It felt like he could run just as good in the 90th minute as he could in the first minute of the game. Huge up for when you have to face those strong, fast, agile super sub like Alejandro Gomez, Mertens, etc., and you know what I mean. This second pro, moving on to sprint speed. He's got 83 in-game sprint speed, which makes for a very quick center back to chase down players on breakaways. Tug a shirt and pull the player and put him off balance. However, though, keep in mind I said sprint speed and not acceleration, as I'll discuss that later in the video. Next up, his passing. Now, this was a huge surprise to me since the face card only has 60 passing. And I know many people will disagree with me probably, but his short passing, which should be the only form of passing you do with a center back, is very accurate to my surprise. 79 in-game short passing, which is actually quite high, and I can confidently say he's a very good passer of the ball to the right player within close range. Disregard it if people say he's a bad passer, as I honestly had no issues in that department. Next up, his strength. He's got 99 in-game strength, and he feels like an absolute tank against other players. Shielding with him is ridiculous if you want to waste time, if that's how you roll. And in shoulder battles, I can almost guarantee you this card is not going to lose a single one. He feels like a giant. He literally towers over other players nearby, which incites fear kind of into them, and the other player just gives them the ball just out of sheer fear, which is practically what it feels like when you are in shoulder battles with them. Next up, his positioning. This card's positioning was absolutely amazing. I thought he would be a disappointment since the high work rates that he's got, but in fact, I can honestly say he was much better positioned than my 90 rated Chiellini, which was a surprise since I already praised that Chiellini so highly in defense and especially his positioning. But this Koulibaly was very good in positioning. The best part of it was that he was always, and I mean always, steps out in front of the ball receiver to cut the ball out, and from there you can just lay it out nearby with a quick short pass. It was a joy watching him cut the pass from open play and just start a quick counterattack. He was kind of like a Bonucci-like center back, just not quite as good in the passing sector because he just doesn't have that long passing attribute. Next up, his heading. Finally, after 3 special cards of this guy, man of the match, 86 rated, and now the 87 rating, his heading issue is dealt with. His previous cards were atrocious in the air, but this one is fixed at last. He's got 83 jumping, which isn't amazing by any means, but keep in mind he is 6'5", but it actually means that he finally makes the effort to get in the air rather than staying put and hoping it drops on his head, as all his previous cards were like, and you saw it right there, he just always steps in front of the play and cuts it out, and just makes a quick pass nearby. That's how you want to use this card. But anyway, back to the heading. Instead of dropping on his head, he actually makes the effort to jump into it, and his heading accuracy isn't too shabby either. 87 in that department, which is a big up in this card. Next up, his aggression. 91 in-game aggression, which makes for one of the card's best aspects in 50-50s, shoulder battles, or cutting open passes, or even in tackling. This card's aggression feels insane. He just wants to get out there. He wants to earn that ball back at any cost there is. You feel confident when this guy is around the ball, and I love that once again. And finally, for his pros, the best for last, his tackling. This card's tackling was amazing. I cannot even express that enough. The 93 stand tackling and the 92 slide tackling is insanely accurate and clutch. You press that stand tackle button and it's as if his foot is attracted to the ball, to his just to pick out that ball and stick it out. And honestly, his stand tackling was one of the best in game. And better yet, you'll see in a few clips is his slide tackles. If you see any opportunity to slide, take it. More often than not, he'll come up on top with the ball. Now that wraps it up for pros. Moving on to the cons. And a very obvious one, his agility. Not a huge factor or detriment to the card. I just had to put it up there just because it is a kind of a nuisance. He's got 70 in-game agility, which isn't a low stat at all. But just because of his sheer size and animations in-game, it makes him feel very clunky center back against small players, say example Mertens or Alejandro Gomez once again, who are agile and quick. Nonetheless, amazing card if you can deal with this, I guess, nuisance, if that's how you want to say it. And finally, as I discussed earlier, his sprint speed. It's really good, but his acceleration lacks quite a bit. It just takes him a few seconds to get to his top speed, and if you're facing very fast strikers, this might be somewhat something to take into account and keep him in defense back there, deep down in defense at all times, just because his acceleration, if he does get beaten, it does take him quite a bit of time to get to his top speed. Overall, he was a very solid center back that was extremely hard to get by for most players I faced. For the ultimate review, I'm giving him a 9.0 for enjoyability. He was pretty fun to use on the ball and completely bully of the forwards while he was in defense. Just cutting out those quick passes was amazing. Next up for consistency, I'm giving him a 9.0 for consistency. He felt great throughout the most games I played with him. Just a few minor mistakes he made here and there. And I guess once again, his agility was kind of a letdown at times. But if you can deal with that, he's amazing. Next up, his defense. 9.0 once again for defense. One of the game's best center backs. All in all, he was very, very hard to get by for players. For versatility, I'm giving him 7.0 out of 10. He would definitely work as a center defensive midfielder because of his very good short passing, but I wouldn't recommend it, so to speak. And finally, his weekend league status. Is he weekend league status? Definitely. I'm giving him a 9.5 out of 10 for weekend league status. He brings that aggression, the size and strength. You need to stop conceding those sweaty goals just because he steps out of foot before the play even develops. And finally, for price, I'm giving him an 8.0 out of 10 for price. He's currently going for 130k on PS4, and I think for this card, the price is pretty fair. I just know he'll drop a bit more once the rewards come out tomorrow, which will make him much more affordable, and that's when you want to pick him up, because for his price, he is very solid. Well, guys, that's a wrap for today's episode on the 87 rated second informed Koulibaly. Please hit that thumbs up button, and don't forget to subscribe for more content if you enjoyed. Till next time, peace.
Down.